Well, hello. I thought today I'm in my classroom, I thought it would be a good time to talk about board markers, which doesn't sound like a very fountain penny topic, but these board markers that I'm going to show you are all refillable, including the ones on the board behind me. So the array of markers I'm showing you here are from two companies, well, let's say three companies. These are Noodlers. They contain Noodlers ink, but these are actually platinum preppy pens with the highlighter ends on them. These are Pilot markers. These are Pilot whiteboard markers. And then these are a different type of Pilot whiteboard marker. What all of these have in common is that they're refillable. And I've been pretty happy with the results across the room for all of them. So let's just take a look at how they write. Right now I'm thinking I should have cleaned my desk, but I'm across the room and you can see how the Noodlers writes. Perfectly visible from all the way across the classroom. If we look a little more closely, the Noodlers comes in two colors. Yes, the board is a little old, but this is how the writing looks close up for the blue and for the black. The markers themselves, I said, are in platinum preppies. I don't know if this is true any longer, but these were originally included in the bottles without any of the preppy branding all over them, but you can just put in the ordinary highlighter tip. Okay, let's try that again. You can just put in the ordinary highlighter tip, it pulls out, and voila, your platinum preppy is a board marker. The drawback to these, let me find my spot here. The drawback to these is these are what's called wet. I don't usually get to write in cursive on the board. These are what's called wet erase markers. To demonstrate what I mean, I need a paper towel. So first, let's just try erasing with a regular eraser. Uh-oh, did I write with Sharpie on the board? Yes, that's been done to me. And in preparing this, this was not totally dry yet, so the eraser did actually kind of take that off. So let's take off something that's been up here for a week. I always either use a spray bottle and then a dry paper towel, or else a moist paper towel where only part of it's wetted and part of it isn't. So you get lovely smearing, which is annoying to some students, especially when I leave the board looking like that. The ink itself comes in eyedropper bottles. They're 4.5 fluid ounces. I believe it's fluid ounces. And like I said, they're wet erase, and these are the only two colors. To fill the marker, now we're on dangerous territory because this is a two-handed operation. So I'm leaning up against the blue bottle as I try this. So the platinum preppy just unscrews. And I don't know if you can tell there, but the ink level's sort of low. And then you just come in and eyedropper. Oh, I guess this had been filled recently because it didn't take very much. Eyedropper your ink in. So if you've ever prepared your platinum preppy to be an eyedropper fill pen, it's the same operation. You smear some silicone grease here, you put a little rubber gasket here, and you are in business. The platinum preppy comes with, you can purchase these tips for it. You just pull out whatever unit is in it, and you can put in these highlighter tips. If you prefer a more fine tip marker, I don't believe I have one here. No, I just buy the highlighter tips, but they do exist. Oh, here's something down deep in this mess. My hoarded mess. Yeah, there we go. This is what they come with in the Noodlers bottles. You can see I started to saturate the fiber feed until I realized, no, that's not what I want. Bottles of ink conveniently located here, along with an emergency supply of platinum black. I don't know why I do that. Or not platinum black, Pelican black. I don't know why I do that because I usually carry one with me, but whatever. But I also have this and these for the pilot markers. So let's spend a little time talking about the pilot markers. Before I transition to the pilot pens, I should just note, if you've been hearing the noise, because I'm doing this all on my cell phone, yes, I have a 3D printer running in the background. And the windows are open, which is hasn't happened in months here in North Dakota. These are the Pilot Whiteboard, spelled W-Y-T-E, refillable markers. They come with a handy eraser. And what's this? A magnet. Why? And you can just leave them on your board. I don't like leaving markers in my tray. They get covered with, marker goo, kind of like, the old chalk trays used to fill up with chalk. Whiteboards drop goo. So I like this. I usually keep all three of them together, hanging on the board like this. And then I can just grab them. I'm never looking for them. I can always see right where they're at. I'm doing this left-handed, so this is bad. Whoops, let's just switch to the right hand. How about that? You can see it makes a nice line. My handwriting is a bit of a struggle. I just rewrote it on my main board without, holding a cell phone in one hand. That went much better. You can see again this board has struggled, and a previous teacher in this room apparently wanted to save something very badly, and no chemical I've found, including dry erase, acetone, or anything, has taken that off. So his mark will be with me till I get a new board. But here we're a little ways back. Now I'm in the back of the room, away from this, behind the student desks actually. And you can see it's still perfectly readable. Pardon my mess up front, but perfectly readable. I don't have any concerns with legibility with any of these markers, or I wouldn't use them. One thing with these markers that I don't like so well, this one isn't doing it. I have let's just say a standard US classroom fixture. These tips tend to get kind of horrible after a while, before the pen runs out quite often. They can't be replaced, but those markers are not refillable like these are. And I can't replace the tips in these whiteboard markers. But on the other hand, these markers are now on their second year and they haven't had a problem yet. So I think the tips are just a much higher quality than your typical dry erase marker. Now let's just say I do want to refill these markers. I would buy whiteboard marker stuff. This is bottled ink. It comes with a little eyedropper included. So pretty good deal. So the first thing I have to do with these is somehow pry the top off. Now they recommend a coin. I don't have a coin handy, so we're just gonna do this with a key. So it does pop out pretty easily. And inside, it may not be the best lit. I know it isn't, but you can see that there's felt. And all I do, and you have to be careful not to overfill it, because I came in after the first time I filled these to discover Smurf blood running down the board from this pen. If it's not sitting in the felt, stop. But you just put some drops in. And it just rehydrates it with ink. If you ever want to have fun with dry erase, try writing on a plate with a dry erase marker, and then then pour water on the plate. Whatever you drew or wrote will stand up, so you can draw like a stick man walking or something. Then he really will walk around the plate. So I have now overfilled this, as you can tell by me going. So that's what I get because I am down kneeling on the floor, which I never do when I fill these, but to film this and be close to the microphone, I had to kneel on the floor. So, if I see Smurf blood tomorrow, it's your fault. And it just snaps back in, and I guess I need to wipe that off, but I'll let it dry first because then it'll wipe right off. That's a nice advantage of dry erase. So this is not a water-based ink, it's an alcohol-based ink, or some kind of solvent. I guess I don't know what the solvent is exactly. I used to work with a lady who claimed that dry erase solvent made her, gave her headaches, so she wouldn't use them. She used, one of the old-fashioned overhead projectors, and she'd write on it with the wet erase markers, which would be kind of like the Noodlers, only in more colors, but not refillable. So while we're here, let's take a look at the other type of marker I have, the Whiteboard Master from Pilot. My students are always kind of taken with the Chinese writing, and then I have to explain, no, that's not Chinese, that's Japanese. But anyway, they look very different, but in a lot of ways the same. You know, there's the front end, the business end, and the tips come in several sizes. I think you have to buy the right marker for the right one, but bonus, unlike the other Pilot markers, these tips can be replaced. And I may yet try, I think, oops, you can't see that. This is terrible. I missed my tripod and everything at home. But I may try fitting these in when I finally run out of ink. Or when the tip finally goes bad. Wow, I'm Englishing well today. So these, at first I was a little disappointed because these are sold with handy cartridges to refill. And I need to refill these first rather than write first, but I'll edit it the other way because they're very faded right now, so they need ink. So we've got a protective bit here, unscrews. Sorry, I've been banging a door with my knee underneath this camera. So the cartridge just snaps out. You've got a bit in here to help pierce it. And then we just slip the new puppy in. So we open up this plastic and give her a push. And we're in, and then we put the protective bit back over so we don't get an unfortunate incident. So we'll let that one lie. You may well be asking the question I asked when I bought these. I thought, well, what's the point of a refillable marker if I'm still wasting plastic? I don't like cartridges. Even with my fountain pens, I use converters. Well, the black pen here will help us answer the question. Of course, I threw away my first black cartridge, not thinking. This one is now opened. I kind of shook it around there so it does look like it was full, but it's not, it's empty. This writes a lovely shade of gray on the board. And I'm opening up new because I've refilled this a number of times now. So this is a brand new bottle of ink. Oops. The cap liner stayed in. Gross. All right, so what I discovered I could do, and I'll bet you've done this with your fountain pen cartridges. I have several Geha pens that I do this with. I just refill the cartridge. And I'm doing this from the side, so I'm not totally sure what the ink level is, but I'll fix it later. We got to keep this video moving. So we'll just snap this back in carefully, not turning it upside down or anything, till it's snapped in place. Put the protective cover back on. And we're in business. So since I just refilled the blue, let's go see how it writes. I'm trying this with the cell phone again. So it writes just fine. I feel like maybe I should rewrite Pilot Whiteboard now that I've refilled that pen, but I think that pen was pretty full. What I like about these is they write a lot more, they write a thicker line, a lot more visible from the back of the room, but also good options. So really all of these markers are good options just in their place. What I like about the Noodlers is it's water-based, it's semi-permanent. So for stuff I leave up, like I always leave my lesson plans up for a week. Lesson plans change, you know, that's more of a suggestion back there than a rule, because I get ahead of them, I get behind them, who knows. But it's a good line, it's readable, and like I said, for years that was my marker that I used in class. Why do I care about this? Oh, let me finish the story and then we'll jump into... I'm doing this without any outline, if you can't tell. I'm not at home in my office, I just decided, hey, I want to do this. The Pilot Whiteboard, the ones that hang on the board with the magnet, I like them because I like that they're up and out of the way and they're right there. I can keep track of them, I can see them, and I'm not worried about them. And I know right where they are. And they're easy to refill and they're perfectly usable. I like the Pilot Master because it makes a slightly thicker line and it's much more visible across the classroom. So I think it would, since they're all refillable, I think it would come down to personal preference. Now, why do I care about refillable markers? I'll show you. You may have seen an open door, two open doors. The one was open to remind me about this, to show you this. The high school student council, where I teach, recycles markers. And, you know, part of this is donated by our art teacher, of course. But I'll probably have 3 big boxes like this full of markers by the end of the year. And we're a small school, and that's with a lot of teachers not recycling because they can't be bothered. I want you to imagine a big school, a Bismarck, a Fargo, a Los Angeles. How many markers they go through. I like chalk better from an environmental aspect just because it's less plastic going in the landfill. We're fortunate that I was able to find a place that recycles markers, because yes, I'm the one that started this. But even so, all of this plastic is going in the landfill. Yeah, I'm a traditionalist. I prefer chalk. My very first classroom had, well, what it had was a tiny little marker board glued onto a cinder block wall, and that was it. And right away I was given a board and I asked for a chalkboard. So I like chalk. That's what I grew up with. That's what I'm used to. But marker definitely has some advantages. It's a lot less messy unless you get it on your clothes. And, you know, the school uses markers, so that's what I have. And I guess marker is supposed to be friendlier for computer equipment. So I hope this was useful. It's not my usual fountain pen thing, but I hope you got something out of it. And if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens and apparently dry erase markers and wet erase markers, both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And what do you use if you're a teacher, or if you use a marker? Because it's not just a teaching thing. Whiteboards are a wonderful brainstorming tool. What kind of marker do you use? What would you like to use? I just thought of this at the end. Again, working without any kind of an outline this time, which isn't my usual bag. One thing I should note, Noodlers comes in 2 colors. You saw them. The Whiteboard markers that hang on the board come in 3 colors. You saw them. Red, blue, and black. The other ones, the master ones, come in more colors, but I can only find the bottles of ink in the 3 colors. So make of that what you will. So, well, thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.